This Nerd Bite contains potential spoilers. You can find more details in the description below.
It's like,
I don't want to keep talking about
and
Loki.
we're done. And we're done.
Werewolf by Night.
All right.
I thought it was great.
Great is a stretch. All right.
I thought it was great.
Everyone thinks that this is great. I don't understand why. I think it's good.
I thought it was great.
You gotta just stick to your guns. You just gotta stick to your guns.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah. It is interesting because I just criticized She-Hulk for it. But in a way, it kind of works to me.
Huh?
Now that a man is a lead.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Now that we have a man, I think, wow.
No, actually, I was going to say one of my gripes with this was the same sort of thing I was just saying about She-Hulk, that it's like this, it was really the only thing that didn't work in this movie for me is the idea that, like, oh yeah, all of these creatures have always been around, so much so that we have like a secret society of hunters that it's like their full-time job is to go cut off their head and mount them on the walls in here.
Wish we would have seen Blade.
Yeah. I honestly feel like this is going to tie into Blade somehow, or like that universe of like the Midnight Suns. I've heard rumblings of, the Midnight Suns? They did a game for Midnight Suns.
Yeah, game's not great.
Is that's not a mobile game?
No, Switch.
Oh, Switch. Okay.
And like it's like a turn-based game. Yeah, that's my jam.
All right. Well,
maybe you might like it.
Yeah, I thought it was. I loved the tone of it too, and
black and white.
Not even I mean, I feel like they could have done this in color and it would have worked fine. I liked stylistically the way they chose to do it, but it was more just like the tone of like old horror. It's like portraying a sense of dread of something that you're not seeing. Like it felt like an old film in the way that like they used to, because they didn't have the technology to show a convincingly scary character.
Yeah.
They had to portray fear through like things that you weren't seeing. So it's like shooting people's reaction to something horrific. And like that shot of like she's in the cage with him and
he's
that shot was awesome. And the whole shot is just her reacting to something horrific.
Yeah.
Just like cinematically, there were so many like cool, clever moments. I thought the story was fun and it was the perfect amount of time. I feel like if it was any longer, I would have been like, this is too long. If it was any shorter, I've been like, why bother? But yeah, the tone of it was great.
I thought the characters are like as like, what's his face is good. The werewolf. Man Thing, deep cut.
Oh yeah.
I have like,
I thought you were gonna say deep hatred for that character.
No, I have like 2 comics or when I was little, I used to read his comics. But the artwork wasn't great, so I was not like, I just liked the artwork on the front. But like, stories are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's a deep cut, and I enjoyed him. I enjoyed the comedy. It didn't undercut the tension.
Yeah.
Which
that's rare for the MCU right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It maintained its tone and tension, and the humor didn't deflect from the story.
There was some
heart to the story, I thought. Yeah.
There's some cheesiness though throughout the story.
But that kind of plays into what I was saying about it being old school. It felt like that playful cheesiness. I don't know. It didn't bother me.
Will that, like, because now he's in the universe, like, is this just a one-off, or were they testing the waters, Like, is he a character that they're like, will people come and actually...
I kind of feel like that's their intention with a lot of the Disney Plus shows, is like, let's throw this character out there, see if it sticks, see if it gets a reaction.
Like Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Well, they invested a lot in the Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, He's like phenomenal. So
yeah.
I thought it was overall 7.5.
I'd probably go 8.
All right. 7.8.
There were some logical flaws. I remember he was like trying to stick a bomb to the wall.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, like, I can't remember exactly what problem I had with it, but I watched this several times. Actually, Jude really liked this.
Really?
He has a weird, like, fascination with horror,
Oh.
but he, like, doesn't want to watch too much of it. Like, he
Yeah.
thinks he does until it
comes on. He's like,
and I was like super trepidatious. I was like, I feel like this is going to be too scary for him. So I watched it first, and I was like, it's not as scary as I thought it would be, because the trailers made it seem like it was going to be horror all the way through. But like you said, there's some levity, there's some jokes, and it's not all like gory and stuff. There are moments of
gore where he's like cut. He's like,
when he gets out of the cage and he's like ripping people. I think someone's head gets cut off. So
yeah.
I probably shouldn't have showed this to you. Now that I'm saying it out loud. But I watched it with him. So I normally I kind of fast forward through parts that I know will scare him.
Yeah.
But I can't even remember why I brought this up. But oh yeah. So I watched this several times with him because he kept seeing ads for it and wanted to watch it. And every time that bomb scene came where he was trying to blow a hole in the maze to let Swamp Thing out.
Swamp Thing? Is it Man Thing or Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing.
One thing is DC and one is Marvel. They're like the same character. I think it's Man Thing. I think you're right.
I don't know.
But he kept trying to stick the bomb to the wall, or I can't remember, but I was like, just stick it in the crack or something. Like, it was just, there was like this illogical.
Where?
Where am I sitting right now?
Stick it in the where?
News from the crack.
Ethan wants him to stick it in the crack.
You heard it here.
You heard it here first. Ethan says, stick it in the crack.
All right, that brings us to the end of this episode. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please follow this podcast wherever you're listening to it. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all major podcast platforms. And if you like this episode, keep an eye out for our companion videos where we address specific topics related to the same thing. Here at Nerd Institute, we really love hearing from you guys. If you have any questions, if you're following along with any of the series that we're reviewing, please send in your questions. Tell us what you guys are thinking. We just might use your question as a topic for one of our podcast episodes. Engage in our matchup tournaments where we pin characters from all of our favorite franchises up against each other to see who you think might win in a fight. And of course, like and follow all of our content across social media. That's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter at nerd_institute. And if you don't feel like using social media, you can always message us directly with any comments, questions, topics, or concerns at anerd33@gmail.com. And until next time, later nerds.